哦，哎，作为能力面板，迈尔斯已解锁连环闪电和毒液拳，但单次只能激活其中一项能力。毒液拳被连环闪电给替换了，这是可以让我选择技能的。不知道这个猎人要搞什么名堂啊？为什么要把这些 BOSS 全都放出来？这很难搞的，这在城市我不知道。要不要有咱说点猪网，哎，官方这花呀！太重了，哇，这个地方我们发毒液枪的，这个地方发毒液枪很爽了，不用不太重。把楼拆了！老子长！拿蛋放到嘴里，因为这是让我为高潮，高度了。We got the no point. We got to stop with that was a stable first. 新产业嘛，蛛网蚁，蛛网翼，聊的呢。我就是一个破兵。哇！太明显了吧？这个能力，这么受黑枪！ Oh, careful! These people are in danger!
Btd6, handle it.
没那么好使。致命终结器，使用满格专路条治愈或使用致命终结器，我也可以使用终结器。多人是死特的，我需要送你帮他做后更多连环斩。I got too many. 多错的东西，我是活人。You want me to get hit by lightning? Can you handle it? We're gonna find out. 啊！
Oh, they're getting through.
哪里有敌人？哦，我怎么总被雷劈
Range +1 damage early on. But once your boomer was ignored, both crosscuts are very close in damage output, so most players make this guy a 502 for the easy build-up from Morg Blade. For the middle path, it depends on what you're doing. If your boomer was one of your first monkeys and needed for the early game, it's hard to turn down the red hot ranks +1 damage early on. But once you get to a bionic boomerang and up, cross-cutting them with blades is the way to go, as it over triples their pierce, which is especially important if you're going a perma-charge for the late game. Just make sure to buff it with a MIB so it can still damage leads and DDT. And for the bottom path, it depends on what tier you plan on stopping at. If you're going all the way to a Moog domination, make this boomer a 025 for that extra attack speed, but if you're stopping at a Moog press, make it a 2. And if your boomer was one of your first monkeys and needed for the early game, it's hard to turn down the red hot ranks +1 damage early on. But once you get to a bionic boomerang and up, cross-cutting them with blades is the way to go, as it over triples their pierce, which is especially important if you're going a perma-charge for the late game. Just make sure to buff it with a MIB so it can still damage leads and DDTs. And for the bottom path, it depends on what tier you play. This will help out a ton on rounds like next. It's in 98, where your monk. ninja, and this entire path is better with seeking shurikens. This lets the ninja maximize its pierce and helps clean up balloons that aren't even in its range. Shell traps is a nice pickup if you have the money, but it isn't always needed. For the middle path, it just depends on what you need. If you're building a ton of shinobis to buff a Grandmaster or Master Bomber, then stopping at 030s is fine. But if you need more range on them, then upgrading the shinobis to 130s is the way to go. If you're going for a balloon sabotage for Brand Saboteur, then you're fine leaving them uncrossed paths, as you'll typically just be using them for their abilities. And for the bottom path, all of them are better when crossed out with Ninja's Discipline, as this will increase the rate of which bombs are thrown. This is why you see everyone doing 104 ninjas for the first tier bosses. Additionally, in Shark Shurikens, not with Monkey Sense, as their magic bolts have relatively low pierce, and this helps out a ton. As for the Archmage, an argument can be made for the 520 variation, as it gives Arcane Mastery and Arcane much value to forego for increased accuracy and laser shock. To start off the magic monkeys, we have the top path wizards. Arcane Mastery and Arcane Spike are both much better when cross-path with Monkey Sense, as their magic bolts have relatively low pierce, and this helps out a ton. As for the Archmage, an argument can be made for the 520 variation, as it gets a boost of Fireball and Wall of Fire damage, but I found that a 502 generally does more damage and is the natural progression of the top path. Onto the middle path, which depends on what map you're on. For Dragon's Breath, make this guy a 032 if you can place them in a spot with few obstacles. This is because Intense Magic gives extra pierce to the Dragon's Breath attack as well, increasing its DPS by a lot. On a map with a ton of obstacles like Workshop, or there is a very specific spot that you want the wall. And a worth 25% more. For the middle path, all three tiers are better with greater production, as this makes them produce more money each round, and this only gets compounded with interest. Though, if you make it all the way to a Monkeynomics, it is fine to make it a 052, as most of the money it generates comes from its ability, and Banana Salvage makes things collect themselves when they're full. As for the bottom path, marketplaces are better at 023s if you have the more valuable Bananas Monkey Knowledge Points, as they'll generate $16 more per round than 203s. That being said, if you're building these up slowly from scratch, like in the early stages of a boss event, it is more efficient to start with a few 200 farms and then upgrade them to marketplaces. Because of this, you'll see a lot of 203 farms being built before the first tier of a boss fight. But for Central Market and the Monkey Wall Street, both of them are better cross-paths with valuable bananas, assuming you have the Monkey Knowledge Point. Next up is the Top Path Spike Factory. Starting with the Spiked Ball, you get to choose between extra attack speed and smart spike. On either map with one track, the 320 is better, as it'll load the end of the track with way more spiked balls than a 302, though the longer the round goes, the better the 302 becomes, as its balls last longer. The thing is that it takes about 82 seconds for the 302 to have a better defense, so unless you're stalling, not many rounds last that long, and this assumes that no spikes have been used. Where the 302 gets an edge, however, is on maps with multiple tracks, or if there's a specific spot you want the spiked ball to be placed, as the Smart Spike upgrade gives the factory targeting option. This same logic extends to Spike Mines, but Super Mines is a funky one. It's really only used for free play and sometimes boss events. In free play, the rounds last long enough that making it a 502 does increase the size of the spike pile by the end of the track, though if things are making it all the way to the end of free play, I don't think it's super much. Continuing with the one village situation, middle path villages are much better with your low drums as its attack speed buff is insane, and bigger radius makes it easier to buff all of your monkeys with the village. If you have room for two villages though, it can be very good to make one of them a 302 and the other a 032. This will save you a ton of money going forward, as well as getting the benefits from primary training as well as the Monkey Intelligence Bureau. And for the bottom path, cross-path Monkey Town, Monkey City, and Monkeyopolis with bigger radius, so it can affect more There are 5 incredibly strong strategies to help you beat chimps. Up first, we have Gwen Tax, and this isn't where she takes your money, it's where she buffs Tax Shooter. We'll start off by placing whatever monkeys can beat the first few rounds. Whether that's a few dart monkeys, a dart and a submarine, or just a ninja, it doesn't really matter. What does is that we'll be placing Gwendolyn the second we can afford her, and we'll place her in front of where we'll be placing the rest of our defenses. From here, we'll want to do 2 things. Stir up our camo detection and Freedom to a 002. Technically, the late game will be better to low drums. This we have to worry about, and its orbiting glaives will be able to take out anything at this point in the game, and its main attack will shred ZOMGs and below, which makes our next.
Here's 5 simple rules to make chance mode super easy in Btd6. Number 5 is choose your strategy. That may seem pretty obvious, but depending on what map you're playing on and what difficulty that map is on, your strategy will change. For example, if you're on Monkey Meadow, there is no water, so that eliminates any boat and sub strategies, which are very strong strategies, and it also eliminates our hero Prickle. Now, I know some of you below are going to mention the Lord of the Abyss, but let's save those for after you have a few black borders under your belt. Or a good reverse to that is an expert map like Flooded Valley, where you have to use water in the beginning until you can save up enough money to use powers that can see over the wall, like a sniper, a helicopter, or a spike factory. Or there's maps like logs that are so long and so easy, you can use pretty much any strategy to your heart's desire. Now that I have a strategy that I think will work, that leads us to number 4, test your strategy. And the way I like to do that is I like to go to hard mode on sandbox. But first you need to make sure that monkey knowledge is disabled to make sandbox as chimps as possible. Now by the time you reach round 100 in the game, you have around $177,000 that you've made. So my favorite strategies in Btd6 are the power strategies. Ones where you focus on 1 or 2 towers and you make them just decimate every single balloon as fast as they possibly can. And it's no secret that one of my favorite strategies of all time is the Avatar of Wrath or the Druid strategy. But I think there's one that's actually a little bit stronger, if not a lot stronger, known as the Grandmaster Ninja strategy. That's where you have a 5th tier Grandmaster Ninja surrounded by 20 of his shinobi buddies, increasing his attack speed and pierce, making him just an absolute powerhouse. Now to showcase this awesome strategy, I'm going to do it on one of my least favorite maps in Btd6. Pat's Pond is just, in my opinion, purely awful. I hate being so negative, but this map, oh my gosh, it just gave me years and hours of struggle throughout my life trying to beat it back in the day on Chimso, because you think you have a strategy and then there's just like 1 or 2 rounds that just wreck you every time, no matter what you do. And then you go back to reset and try it again, and then another round will come up and wreck you. It's just a hard map, but this strategy makes it actually very, very, very easy, and the progression to get there is easy. Because like I said, I think it's one of the strongest strategies, and it helps to get there too, if that makes sense. Like, it's a nice, steady strategy. A lot of strategies, like let's say you're using the Apache Prime, you gotta wait from that Apache Prime and save up $48,000 in the meantime. You're like, I hope we can defeat everything that comes after us. But this is just such a nice progression that it makes math practical. But that kind of is what makes this map a little bit easier in some ways too, is because that's beautiful too, is because, and so you're all placement. You can't just, now the only thing I might be like one particular bad place, get my ninja, and then get my open Visible Power for like right now, he should place it up there. Since now when I'm showcasing, and then you get your alchemist. Now when I'm showcasing strategy, it's beautiful too, is because a Blujitsu ninja with talking and walking are very hard for me at this point. Kind of a good base strategy for most strategies, right? And so you already have a good solid thing going in, and then you're just adding to it, making it even better. Now, the only thing I would recommend in what I did here is I did take some time prior to set up a good shinobi placement. You can't just go in blind on a lot of the maps like this one. You kind of have to know where you're putting them and what you're going to do, because you might be like 1 or 2 shy, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's better to spend a little bit of time in sandbox placing all of your towers rather than losing later on and having to restart with a bad placement. So that's kind of what I did here. Now, so far, this is a normal strategy. Use what you can and start off the range, because every map's a little different. Sometimes you can just use a sub and a dart and push pretty far. In this case, I just had 3 darts until I get my ninja. I get my Odin as soon as I can, so he's awesome. And then you get your alchemist to buff up your Blujitsu. Sometimes you got to get your alchemist first and then get a Blujitsu, but in this case it wasn't too bad because Oben is a powerhouse. For like right now he should place it up. I feel like Oben would just purposely put it down here and make me lose. So we're just going to do our best to make it work. Now for this, I did have a little bit of problems to make this guy super strong. Kind of just, no, I'm not messing with there. 99% every other time he puts his breath there. 99% of the time he puts it up there. So what are you going to do? I'm hoping it'll be enough. It should be enough. We have a shinobi here, but sometimes it's not. In that case, it was because we had his little guy there too. Now, like I said, every other time he puts his bramble up there, so that's just the open problem. But we're in a good spot. We have a one-time shinobi. So from here, we're going to start adding shinobis everywhere that we can in the best places possible, as tightly as we can. That's why we put our alchemist so close to this Blujitsu, so we can make sure that most of the juice goes to the Blujitsu. But now, we could try to shoot for 37,000 a Grandmaster Ninja first, but honestly, in my opinion, like that tower's not that great on its own, so we might as well have these guys ready. And personally, we
我们累积。
Nature's revenge shall be swift and terrible. Ha! What next? Awesome. All right.
真的很少复仇者联盟吗？我们两个自己都搞定了。多龙成功的换我，这个 OK， 我帮我上来。
Sweet. Yes.
6个给起，这跨度挺高啊。
And in the best places possible, as tightly as we can. That's why we put our alchemist so close to the Fujitsu, so we can make sure that most of the food goes to the Fujitsu. But now, we could try to shoot for 37,008 Grandmaster Ninja first, but honestly, in my opinion, like that tower's not that great on its own, so we might as well have these guys ready. And personally, we actually can't go that far with just what we have here. So we need to add some Shinobi here to make it stronger. But that's what I was talking about, that progression. As we add one each time, it makes it better and better and better, faster and faster, making it stronger and stronger. I could talk all day about this. We're just going to add as many as we can. And basically what you're doing is you're putting it down there, and you're trying to make sure that most of it covers the Shinobi. So like this one, for instance, probably will actually, because when you're on the downside, it's a lot easier. Because like here, it won't reach. Even though it looks like it will, it probably won't. We'll have to add a little bit of range to it. Let's actually add those ones in first. So we'll go right here, and see, we're trying to get it as tight as possible. So maybe you can put it in the red zone and then drag it out like that if you're on PC, and then if you're on Modi, do the same thing actually. So they like that, and then go all the way up. Tactics. Is it enough? We should have 4, and we do not. See, so now I have that group game because I did it. Even though it covered it completely, it didn't cover it completely. We're gonna do another one here as good as we can right there, and you're gonna see the same problem. I mean, like, look at that. It's like 95% covering this Fujitsu, but it's not gonna work. So that's just the goofy thing about.
哇，今天晚上拉在车上，我今天晚上拉在车上。
Moab, handle it. Handle it.